Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Akio, and we are tapping into moments that made me Monday. Today, I wanted to just chime in and talk about, you know, um, my mom Duke's Glorious Taylor. She transitioned years ago. I want to say April 9th, 2012. And did I say 2012? I mean 2012. Forgive me. I'm sorry. My mind is still cooked from the weekend of Artscape, man. It was an incredible time. As a matter of fact, before I go in, I'm gonna talk about real quick because I'm staring right at it. I got a gift from a good brother. His name is Randolph. He's a veteran. He's an artist. He said that my journey had inspired him to pick up a pencil and start drawing again. And I am so humbled, maybe because he went through so much. He survived, some things, and he's also is a um, suicide. Man, it's crazy, man. He almost attempted to take his life, but he's been recovering. He was paralyzed, and he has recently done surgery on his spine. So he's slowly but surely beginning the process of being able to walk again. But this is the piece that he created for me. This was a image that he had referenced from when I had the red carpet event at We Own the City. And I was so grateful to receive this yesterday, man, because he came there with the walker. And when he gifted me the art, he decided to stand up, and just knowing that he had served, it was like respect, that I do not take lightly. So I'm thankful for that. And, it's messages like that and people who actually go through a lot of pain and push through and continue to move forward and finding purpose in pain that is what I was able to do that connected my mother when she passed. I didn't do it immediately, but eventually, when I started tapping into my wearable art and my shoe art, I wanted to commemorate my mom. So, when most of the pieces that I created, when I started the journey, and I want to say when I picked it back up, of picking up creating, wearable art pieces is what I call now shoe mural art or wearable art or art apparel. I decided to take all the like logos of the hearts and heroes, or originally it was the Akio's glorious heroes, and I decided to put it on the left side because all on the left side, that's where the heart beats. And because my mother died of heart disease, I wanted to initially put the logos or anything personable onto the left side. So with that being said, it took a toll when my mother passed, but I think when she transitioned, I immediately made myself busy. As a matter of fact, when she transitioned, the day of the funeral, I was still burning like uh, discs, like DVDs, because I was already like editing a video that was dedicated to my uncle Gene Harris. And then when she died 2 days later, 2 to 3 days later, after my uncle Gene passed away, the same video that I was already using, it was from my aunt's B-Day party. I had to include my mother in that video as well. And I had a habit of doing that when people would pass away or when something would happen. I would keep busy and I would necessarily not feel what happened or what's um, I wouldn't feel it. I would just keep going, and keep occupied. But I learned over time that that's not good. That you have to feel it. You have to go through all the motions and all the feelings. You know what I mean, and not necessarily, close yourself off. And I'm still learning that still to this day. But in most cases, I think that the art has healed me. And like in the meantime, between time, it has helped me through the grace of God. He says, your gifts will make room for you. So your gifts is your art. So your art will make room for you to be able to have peace. Now, God is the Prince of Peace, okay, but He has given us gifts to be able to use. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And sometimes when you lose that opportunity, sometimes we can lose our mind, you know, we could lose connections, people in the process. And it's up to us really to really foresee what we have, not just when things are going right, but when they go all the way down, when things start to spiral, sometimes it can be difficult to pull yourself up. But in moments that made me, when my mother passed, I just tried to find ways eventually to make her, um, make an ode to her. Anything that I was creating, I wanted to like hold on to the memories that we had when she would put us on to movies. So when I would, maybe release the movie Fresh. I don't know if you ever see that movie, but it would star Samuel L. Jackson and um, Esposito. I forgot his first name. I always knew his first name, but now for whatever reason I can't think of it. But he also played in The Mandalorian. He's played in Do the Right Thing as the guy that was like, "Yo, you stepped in my shoes." Dope film. If you haven't seen Fresh, see that. But Fresh was a movie that me and my sisters we loved and my mother loved. So I made a drop out of that. Even when my uncle transitioned, well, before he transitioned, I decided to create a Richard Pryor drop. Why? Because my uncle used to open up for Richard Pryor and Red Fox in his time. My uncle was a singer. And around the time he was actually in his prime, it was during the Chitlin circuit. So he would tell me and my siblings about these stories, like about Dick Gregory and all the greats that would come through the city, Quincy Jones. And then as I gotten older and when he transitioned, it all made sense. Because when you think about The Wiz and how The Wiz was actually a play in Baltimore, and Quincy Jones seen this play, and then they eventually made that play that started here in Baltimore. They made it into an adaptation film called The Wiz that starred Michael Jackson and Diana Ross. So, you know, it's a lot of history here that my uncle would share. And I decided to create the Richard Pryor drop because my mother, not only that my uncle loved Richard Pryor and he opened up for Richard Pryor, but my mother loved Richard Pryor. So I remember in 2021, was it 2021? No, it had been 2022, I think. Um, no, it was 2021 because I didn't have the drop with Soundgarden until like December 2021. And then going into February 2022, if you look at those previous videos, I talked about the Richard Pryor drop and the story about how it came full circle. But I found out that by me doing like these things that's like with good intentions and being intentional and really wanting to honor um, people or honor God or just really just follow my heart, it puts me in miracle territory. Things that I feel like if I was just to do it just to follow a trend or follow clout or, being spiteful, nothing fruitful comes from that. So in moments that made me really push me to be able to, think of things just not on the surface. And when you're doing things, it's always a spiritual connection, whether you believe it or not. And if it's not a spiritual connection between you and you being the vessel of allowing yourself to create that output and rendering the output, when you create it and put it out in the world, somebody's going to connect with it. They're going to connect with you and what you're doing. And then right then and there, that's going to be a spiritual connection because that gift, that painting that I just showed you, that art that I just showed you, that was a spiritual connection that, you know, before I met, Randolph, he already was connected to my art. He was connected to my journey. He was connected to my testimony. And that was nothing but the glory of God that pushed, that encouraged him to follow his purpose, you know, by me walking in my purpose. It's not just for me, it's for others. And for God seeing what he's doing in your life so that way he can make sure that you make an impact on others to bring him closer, bring people closer to the divine, bring them closer to God. So I give all thanks and glory to God. And I'm grateful that that moment was captured yesterday because it was powerful. So on this Memorial Day, You know, of course, we give respect to those who have fought for this country. We give the respect to those and our ancestors who have, you know, dreamt about what we are doing now. And I'm just grateful that not only we're celebrating Memorial Day, but having an exhibition in the Baltimore War Memorial during Memorial Day weekend, mind blowing. You know, I don't know if that was intentional, but I'm walking through that historic building and seeing all those black faces and how they, you know, had served. And I never seen these faces before. I mean, some of these images, they're not online. And if they are, how will I search for them if I don't know about them? So it was powerful putting that into my spirit. And then, you know, we are fighting and we're showing up. And when we show up, we get the victory. And that's all it is. When you're putting on your uniform, whatever it is you're doing in life, it can be you going to your job, you're putting on your uniform, and your uniform don't even have to necessarily be a uniform. It could be your everyday work clothing. For an artist, it can be your clothing that you painting, like your overalls. But when you put on that uniform, something is activating inside of you. And we're fighting the war from within. And when we fight the war from within, we get the victory from it because we showing up. We have to continue to show up. So shout out to Randolph for showing up, you know, because he could have very well been gone from here, you know, but God had saved him and made sure he seen it through. So thank y'all for tapping in. Tomorrow I'll be connected with you guys. I'm feeling a little bit better now. You know, my voice is coming back slowly but surely. But let me know what you think about this episode. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Send it to someone you feel like may need it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.